In this video, I'm going to talk about the most important part of running gear, which are running shoes. This year, I have the privilege of choosing whatever running shoe I want to build up my running shoe rotation. So what you see here are all the running shoes that I received from Saucony this year. I've tested all these running shoes so you don't have to. Before you go out and buy a pair of running shoes, watch this video first. So if you run a lot on trails, you should consider getting a trail specific shoe. So this is called the Peregrine 13 ST. The ST stands for soft terrain, which is meant for wetter and muddier surfaces. There are extra waterproofing features at the ankle, and there's like extra waterproof overlays at the upper as well. Unfortunately, I don't run in the trails or rain too much to fully utilize this shoe. But if you run in very rocky terrain or terrain with very sharp roots, consider getting a trail shoe with some sort of hard plate at the bottom. The Peregrine 13 ST does not have a hard plate because it's made for wetter and muddy surfaces. So if you want the hard plate at the bottom, go for the standard Peregrine 13. So to be honest, for my Richie, right, they remove a lot of muddy sections of the trails. So on hindsight, I think I would have gotten the standard Peregrine 13 instead. And if you don't run regularly on the trails like me, you can consider any of the road running shoes as well. But you can feel the rocks a lot more easily. For long runs, what I look out for is a high stack height midsole because I want lots of cushioning when I go for my long run. So in Saucony's lineup, they have the Triumph, the Kinvara Pro, as well as the Endorphin Shift 3. Right now, if I only had to pick one, I will go for the Kinvara Pro. It has a super high stack height in the forefoot, which means it's more comfortable when you run. And as a bonus, it also has a 3/4 length carbon plate running from the top to about 3/4 down. The carbon plate gives you some bounce and springiness as you run. Now as for the Triumph, it's still a very comfortable shoe because of the foam they use here, but the forefoot height is only 27mm, so it's much shorter than the Kinvara Pro. So that means you don't get the floaty feeling like you're running on clouds like the Kinvara Pro in this shoe. You can definitely feel the ground more with a shorter forefoot shoe. Also, the eyelet band stretches all the way to the bottom of the shoe and I can feel it on both sides of my feet. And after a while, I can forget that the band is there, but it's very noticeable the first few kilometers of the run. Now as for the Endorphin Shift 3, I just got it last week, so I will reserve my recommendation for now. I wanted to try it because it has a very high 35mm stack height at the forefoot, and it also has the Endorphin Speed Roll technology. That just means the front of the shoe curves very sharply to help your foot roll forward easier. I've heard mixed reviews about the Endorphin Shift 3 saying that the sole is quite stiff and firm, but after this video, I'll use the Endorphin Shift 3 for my long run later. So for me, since I have these 3 pairs of long run shoes, I will rotate between these 3 for my long runs each week. Now for racing, I have 3 pairs of the Endorphin Pro 3s. Yes, that's a bit too much. So the Endorphin Pro 3s have been super well received by the running community and comes really highly recommended as a race day shoe. It is super light at 204 grams and the sole is bouncy and thick. Also, it has a full length carbon plate as you can see at the bottom here to make you as efficient as possible. So if you're looking for a race day shoe, consider the Endorphin Pro 3. I heard in 2024 the Endorphin Pro 4 is gonna come out, so that means you can expect the Endorphin Pro 3 to be even cheaper. But one thing to note about the Pro 3 is that the upper might be breathable but it's very thin. For my first pair of the Pro 3, I finally got a hole at the side of the shoe. Because I keep stepping on the arch over here, that's why it created a hole, but the rest of the shoe is perfectly fine. So why do I have 3 pairs of the Pro 3s? My oldest pair is aging already. It has 700 kilometers on it. I feel like I still can use it a little bit more if I don't mind the holes at the arch area. So when these are completely destroyed, I'll switch over the elastic laces to my next Pro 3s and use this pair as my triathlon racing shoe. And then my newest Pro 3 will be my tempo run and my second pair of race shoes. And my go-to pair of racing shoes are the Saucony Endorphin Elite. So this has helped me get my 5K, 10K, 21K personal best this year. I know those personal bests are mainly due to my fitness, but it is still my favorite racing shoe. I'm only saving this shoe for races and time trials to get the most value out of the shoe. To be honest, I don't know why I'm doing that because I'm sponsored. I think it's because I can't request for it again because it's not selling in Singapore. I only got this pair because Saucony had a sample pair and they decided to give it to me. Now as for the shorter interval sessions, I'll use the Saucony Endorphin Speed 3s. I have 2 pairs of the Speed 3s, one in white and one in the blue Chicago color. These are also super light shoes, so it's very easy to pick up the speed from a standstill. It has a nylon plate instead of a carbon plate, and I actually do feel the nylon plate giving it some springiness in the step, and it's especially apparent after my bike ride during a triathlon where my legs are dead. I can feel the nylon plate really helping me supporting my foot. But the thing is, if your legs are fresh for a workout, you probably won't feel the nylon plate there at all. And I also like that the Speed 3's upper is more tightly knitted and I think better than the Pro 3's because I don't have any holes yet. So even though I have so much mileage in them already, I don't see the need to switch over to my newer Speed 3s yet. So the Speed 3s are really good shoe and they last very long, and they are also very highly regarded in the running community. You can see the other YouTube reviews on it as well. But one downside of the Speed 3s is that it only has a 27mm forefoot, so that means you can feel a bit more impact on the ground than the Pro 3s. So that's the reason why I use the Pro 3s for longer intervals, like tempo intervals, and the Speed 3s for shorter sprints like 200 and 400 meters. Because running harder for a longer time, the thicker midsole of the Pro 3s will benefit you more. That's what I think at least. Whereas if you're doing faster intervals like 200 and 400, your legs are getting a rest anyway after 1 round or 2 rounds on the track. But still, if I had to choose between the Speed 3 or the Pro 3s, I'll definitely go for the Pro 3s because it's the most versatile interval and training shoe. My 11th shoe is the Saucony Kinvara 14. So this is what you get when you don't have the cash to buy an entire shoe rotation like this. The main thing about this shoe is that it's super light. If I remember, it's 198 grams, so it's even lighter than the Endorphin Pro 3s. That's because it strips out everything, a very thin upper and a very short midsole. So you can definitely feel the impact of the ground more when you run in these. So the Kinvara 14 is actually Saucony's cheapest shoe in the lineup. It does not have a plate in it like the Kinvara Pro, which has a carbon plate. And the Kinvara used to be my only running shoe. So if you're gonna have one shoe, highly recommend the Kinvara. I used to have the Kinvara 4, a couple of 8s, 9 and a 10. But now since I have the whole of Saucony's shoe lineup to run in, unfortunately, this shoe is not getting much use now. Now I use the Kinvara 14 if I want to go for an easy short run. So between the Kinvara 14 and the Kinvara Pro, if you want a really light shoe, you want to pick up the speed very fast, go for the Kinvara 14. Whereas for everything else, if you even want some speed features in it, the Kinvara Pro will be better because it has a carbon plate in it, and it's also better for your long runs because the stack height is super thick, so it's a lot more cushion for you. So between the Kinvara Pro and the Kinvara, both are excellent daily trainers. Probably go for the Kinvara Pro now. If you need the fastest shoe possible and gunning for your personal best time, what you want to look for is the weight of the shoe and whether it has a carbon plate or not. So these two factors are what plays the most impact on your performance. So that's why the Endorphin Pro 3s are the most ideal shoe because it is only 204 grams and has a full carbon plate. If you're in the market for a long run shoe, look for something that has a high stack height in the forefoot. It will be better if it's around 35mm like the Endorphin Shift 3. So this is what I'm talking about. 3.5 centimeters of forefoot, and also it'll be good if the foam is also very squishy and soft, so that way you get the most comfort out of your shoes for your long run. Okay, I just came back from my long run with the Endorphin Shift 3s. The first impressions, I can definitely feel the good stack height in the forefoot. I won't say it's firm, but I say it's supportive. It's not very cushiony like the Endorphin Pro 3 or the Kinvara Pro. It's still a very comfortable long run shoe in my opinion. Thanks for watching, see you guys in the next video.